Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now, LaRon?
Yeah, I can hear you. That was
You
me.
know what?
I hear him
You
now.
know what? Yeah, he can hear me.
My bad.
Should I be able to hear deeply? Because I can hear
You can hear.
very faintly
Okay.
in my right ear.
I can hear whoever that was talking.
Okay.
You can hear Ray.
Yeah,
Only a little bit.
I can hear him real good. He's like crystal clear.
Okay. Okay.
And I can hear you. You fine. I
You
can
can hear me.
hear
All
I can
right.
hear everybody.
So I'm about to mute so they won't kick me off again. Yo, and I'm your girl TaShon, live in the studio of the mail room. I have I have LaRon, Mr. Takeover. What's going on with you?
A little sick, but I'll be all right though.
A little sick. What's wrong?
Yeah, the babies gave me cooties.
Oh Lord. You got you got your ginger ale. You
No,
got
no,
your,
no,
you ain't got
no.
see, you ain't taking it seriously. You need a ginger ale, the crackers,
The sardines.
the saltines. Them saltines. Do they still sell them saltines? They
Yeah,
do. They
yeah.
c- them saltines. Oh, I hate that you are sick. And then you
Uh,
look, and then you're on the show. You could have said you wasn't gonna make it.
oh no, 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 no. I'm good. I got a I got a interview afterwards too. So
Okay, so you
yeah,
gotta suck it up.
I got stuff to do anyway. So you just got to
Yeah,
tough it
it's
up.
different when we're adults. Is when we get sick, we have to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be praying for healing for you today.
Thank you, thank
Oh,
you, thank
tell
you,
one.
thank you.
Yeah. Well, we are live in the studio, y'all. Welcome back to another Saturday of the mail room. Missing Tank for a minute, but I think he's coming in. I'm not sure. But Tank, the sports guy, LaRon, Mr. Takeover, and of course DJ Johnny Prince out on the road. How's everyone doing? We got Nelson, our engineer. How you doing?
No sir, no sir.
Nelson don't want to talk. He be like, I'm doing my thing. Don't bother me. How you doing, Nelson? We appreciate you coming in here every Saturday morning with us, the mail
How
room.
your
Really.
week been going? You've been
My
busy.
week, I have. I've been busy. We covered the stellar celebrity basketball,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
award show. Well,
Well,
basketball.
yeah. So it's the Stellar Awards. They every year they have some type of celebrity basketball.
Yeah,
So we cover that.
yeah. And it was
Okay.
different for me because I don't like crowds,
Hmm.
so it's like okay, all these
This making you
people.
get out and
Yeah, and then
feel some.
then people were like really close to me. You can like smell their breath, and it was just like
Let me tell you something,
you know,
LaRon. TaShon was out there getting it. She, what I'm saying, it almost looked like it was in her. She was in her element.
I had
She enjoyed herself.
I had to pray because I was like, dear God, like I said, this is my new career, and I have to be out in the forefront, and I have to be amongst people, and I
Girl,
just
you
had
better
to
work
work on
out
my
that
facial
shell.
expressions because even if it was a Christian basketball game, stuff could
Golden.
still go down. Matter of fact, something did go down, didn't it? It was a fight there. Two older
Really?
men. Yeah.
You said the Stellar.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Stellar. No, you good because we got our guest in the building too. He's like, I thought, no, you can talk. I'm gonna
Yeah.
introduce you. But yeah, it was the Stellar Award Celebrity Basketball. So Pastor Marvin Sapp was one of the coaches, and Pastor Jamal Bryant. He was the other coach. I don't know
and it
which.
was a fight.
Yeah, it was
But
older.
it was outdoors.
Yeah, it was outdoors.
The elements.
Yeah. Well, them little Christian men now. They set in
I
their
was gonna
ways. They
say, Chris,
70,
why the
80.
Christians fighting?
Yeah, because somebody's still mad about that parking space at church. He probably caught up with him. That's what it was. And if I think that's the one that had that perm, he had that. Let me stop, dear God. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm not. I have to represent him at all times. It was a fun element. It was. It was different.
Okay.
Being around a lot of people. Being around a lot of people. So I just gotta get used to that. I
Uh,
do. See,
really?
y'all are used to. Yeah, I'm not a crowd
Don't
person.
you dare
You
put
never
that
know.
on me.
You're not a crowd. But you're not an introvert. I'm an introvert, really. I really
Okay,
am.
so there's a
So
misconception of me. I am an introvert myself, but
really,
my purpose, I'm realizing that God needs me out there. So I'm
yeah,
having to. I don't like people, and
yeah.
it's
It's like
it's
I
not even.
like them.
Let me rephrase that. It's not that I don't like people. It's just some people can be very idiotic,
Yeah,
and
especially this day and age.
so I don't like those form of people that like mess.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's why I draw the line at, and that's where my anxiety starts getting because I'm to the point now I don't have any filter, and it's not.
Oh, you're one of those. You
Yeah,
don't have a
but
filter.
not a filter with like just degrading and cussing or anything like that. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
realizing that I don't. people have been trying to shut me up for years, and I'm like over
Mhm.
it. And
Okay.
that's where I'm at now. I don't have a filter to where I have a voice. Everybody has a voice, and as long as
Right.
I'm not degrading you, I should be able to speak my.
Right.
So
So
that's
you
where I'm
ready
at.
to just like let people have it? See, I'm bad
Yes.
with facial expressions, and I have my coworker here. He can attest to it. I told you I was bad with facial expressions. I mean, Ray, we in a different element. You can tell the truth because I'm bad with my facial
I've been
expressions.
working on it.
I shoot, I will,
So
but
your face
sometimes it don't
tells
be
you how
me.
you
Oh yeah,
feel.
my face. Yeah, I will look at you and be like, what in the like? Are you serious? Like, I don't even have to open my mouth, and that's why people would think I'm mean because they were like your face, and I'm just like, yeah, but
Lisa like that.
stop doing the dumb stuff though, so I won't look at you.
Exactly. Right. 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 Right.
But then sometimes I just really don't understand what's going on, and so my face tells it all, and I just
Yeah.
yeah. So we're working on that, but it was yeah. I've been busy like trying to went back to the health store, got a new I gotta go pescatarian, y'all.
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, she told me to go pescatarian.
Wait,
Yeah.
was that
Just
after
fish and veg.
was that
Well,
after the meeting with Chef last weekend?
yeah, so I went home from last week and I apologize. I was able to get my wings this week after we left the health store. We were at the health store getting all of our supplements or whatever, and she was like, "Well, you're gonna have to go pescatarian now." And I was like, "Okay." She was like, "Fish and veggies," and I said, "Okay, we can do that because that's what we pretty much we don't eat beef. I like beef, and you don't really eat beef. We cut back on the chicken.
Okay.
And I said, she said, "Well, you could go ahead and start today since and you got everything." I was like, "Okay, that's cool." So 30 minutes in the store, we getting everything. You know,
That
went in the
changed real
car. I
quick.
was like, I'm going to Wingstop and get my 10 piece. And
Oh
he was
yeah.
like, No, you're not. I said, Yes, I am. Watch me. Drove to Wingstop, got my lemon pepper and garlic parmesan 10-piece
Oh
wings.
goodness.
Sat
Oh
on that
wow.
couch and ate. So today is day one of pescatarian. I already messed up because I had a sausage patty from Starbucks this morning, but
Don't feel bad because we did a impossible burger with bacon on it. So
did you? How was it? How did it taste?
the bacon was fine.
It was a
The
fake
impossible burger.
bacon.
No, that's what I'm saying. So we defeated the purpose with getting the impossible burger because we put real bacon on it.
You know what black people can't do right. We can't do right. Chef talking about that's that fat girl. So it was. I had a fat girl moment yesterday.
Yeah.
Leaving from the health store, I did. I was sitting on that couch. I ate every last 10, every wing, and then they accidentally gave me two extras, so I was in heaven. Like I was counting. I was like, oh, that's 12. Okay. I was
Oh
like,
God.
thank you, Jesus, because he knew. He knew I won't have them for a while. I
Mm.
won't have the wings for a while. I'll be fishing veggies. So, got to get our temples right. So I'm down with it. But look, y'all, we are live in the studio, 101tkonradio.com. Turn on there. We have now Mr. Takeover. What you got
Hey,
for us? Because we got a
well,
special guest in the building, and we need to get to this conversation today. It is
okay.
right up your alley. It's right up our alley. We just that's the purpose of the mail room. So what you got for us today?
Well, hey guys, this is your boy LaRon, Mr. Takeover, and I want to run it back to that famous word that men hear a lot, emasculate.
Mm,
And
okay.
when you normally hear about emasculation, is normally, taking that pride, that strength, that essence from a man. But I want to talk to our men because this is the mailroom.
Yeah.
Immaculate can not only be toward men, it can be toward our women as well.
Really?
And I think at some point, at some form in our livelihood throughout the years, that's pretty much what we've been doing to our partners as our wives. We've been emasculating them as that equal stand with us, and how we've been placed to believe that a woman's place is behind us, not beside us.
Right.
She holds the same value as we do, and we're missing that. And I think, just my opinion, that's what's going on in the
Mhm.
world, that we're
Mhm.
so divided and we're looking to rule so much, and failing to realize that a supposed king can't rule a great kingdom without a queen beside him. I don't
Mhm.
care how, again, it's my opinion, but I strongly just feel that we're missing a vital point in our family when we dispel the true value of what our woman brings to our family, our life, our total essence. And guys, I just really would love for you to focus more energy on uplifting your woman, because she can't give you the energy that you need if you're not providing her none. So that's what I wanted to
Hmm.
run it back.
So you're saying, say that last line again.
The man can't, you can't expect your woman to provide the energy that you're looking for her to give you if you're not providing any to her.
Mhm. So what
And
energy? Because sometimes y'all energy be a little.
you see,
I'm just saying. I'm asking. As a
uh,
woman,
yes.
I'm just asking. Because
And I'm not
sometimes
talking
y'all,
about that. I'm not talking about that control energy, because a lot of men, it's like going back to the slavery situation, that a lot of men don't understand when they are pushing that control aspect. They're pretty much
Mhm. Mhm.
enslaving. They're enslaving their woman, and that's not a leader. That's, you're just
Yeah.
dragging somebody. And so
Right.
that form of energy, no, your family doesn't lead. They don't need that.
Right.
And
Right.
so the energy that's needed is that understanding.
Mhm.
And the world is not teaching men to have a understanding energy. But like,
Uh,
taking for your instance, your situation
mhm.
back then,
Mhm.
you pretty much felt Chef did not understand how you was feeling.
About my wings.
Yes.
Yeah. About my
So,
wings. Yeah.
and but you can't really pick on a man, on men, to a degree to where the disconnection that the world has established between men and women, by making them so separate, when
Mhm.
we are pretty much in the same, that no, we're not psychic,
Right.
but
Right.
if we have that communication barrier broke down and we communicate more,
Right.
it established some form of psychicness. Lisa, just, I got wings for her yesterday, because
Mhm.
us leaving the mall with the baby, she's like, dang, I sure would love some public wings. She
Right.
wasn't saying that to me,
But you
but
could feel it.
I left the mall and went straight to Publix and got some wings. And the baby was like, why you got wings? I said, well, my baby must have heard me.
Mm.
And she didn't say it loud enough as a demand,
Mhm.
as a, hey, baby, I would love for you to go get some wings. I was
Gotcha.
just paying attention. And that's something that we don't do as men. Again, that's a form of the emasculation that I feel that we do with women. We're not really listening. That
So
sometimes
you
a Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, sometimes it's just a woman just blatantly just tells us exactly what she needs, and
Mm.
we show blinders to it.
Really? So
Yeah.
you're admitting that y'all don't listen to us.
Majority of the time, yes, men don't listen.
Can you say it loud enough?
Majority of the time, men don't
Is
listen,
it
because
like that with you
again,
too, Ray? You
I
don't
be I
listen?
try to listen.
You try. Oh, what about you,
Yeah, but
Nelson? You try or do you? I just want to hear it today. Like, do y'all listen to us? Cause Chef, are you listening? Cause y'all
selective hearing.
selective hearing. That's what it is. Because he heard what he wanted to hear about my wings last week.
Yeah, because
He
we
knew.
tend to voice over, and so the louder we get, we think we're demanding a form of respect when we're really just
Mhm.
yelling. And so the
Mhm.
woman has to
Mhm.
also scream over top of us in order for her to
Yes, we
feel
do.
heard.
We do because we want y'all
So
to hear
again,
it.
that's a form of
Yeah, because I did.
emasculation.
My voice did elevate last week
Yeah.
because I didn't get the wings. I mean,
But
I keep it real.
it,
I just
and
it
to our
elevated.
defense, to our
Mhm.
defense,
Mhm. Mhm.
again, it is something that's being taught, and we have to re-educate. Which I love the show that we're about to. It still goes back
Yes.
to education,
Yeah.
and we're
Johnny
not
says
being
men
educated.
listen sometimes, women never listen. Oh, there you go. See, there you go.
uh,
There
uh,
you go. We would never listen. Well, how about that? How about on September 24th? You see how I can plug that in? The all black listening party. The women will be listening to y'all, the men. How about that? We're going to listen since you said we don't never listen. We do
well,
listen. And
I'm
see, now
blessed.
Chef co-signing. Talking
Oh
about,
wow. You know what, baby?
now
If
he
you're
going to ask me,
listening,
do I
I
have in
am
my
blessed
water?
because my lady
You,
listens.
you,
She listens a lot, and I'm very happy and blessed that she does.
yeah, well, yeah, we do listen. And then chef talking about did I get my water? See, I'm about to cut him off right now. See, always going back to the health, the eating, the healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
looking out for you.
there you go. I'm in by myself, ladies. I need some help. He's talking about he looking out. Ray talking about he looking out for me. I mean, I get it, but
Transition into
when I want my wings, I want my wings. Y'all don't be understanding. But I mean, now I got to do right because now you definitely we got a little bet going on too, so I ain't about to lose no
You
money.
ain't about to lose. Oh
No,
Lord.
I ain't about to lose no money. So thank you so much, Mr. Takeover. Run it back. LaRon, thank you for that insight. We're going to continue that talk. But listen, we're going to come back after this song break. We are going to jump right in with our special guest, Mr. Ray James. Y'all don't want to miss this at all. This brother is deep. And so listen, tune in to 101tkoradio.com. Of course, if you're on StreamYard, I'm going to mute the music, but we will be right back with the mailroom. live on 101 TKO Radio. It is your girl TaShon of the Mail Room. We are chopping it up, getting into. We just finished with LaRon, Mr. Take It Over. Wait, I got to get your name right. Run it back with LaRon.
I am taking it over, girl. I am taking it over, so it don't matter.
I know. I got to remember.
I am taking it over, so however way you want to say it, taking it over.
Take it over. We are back live. We got Mr. Tank, the sports guy, Sports Talk. What you got for us today, Tank?
Listen, we had an awesome time.
We did.
Thursday night doing layups for Jesus, dunking on people in the name of God. It didn't look, the athleticism, listen, as far as praising Jesus, we had an all-star cast, but as far as actually playing basketball, I don't think Jesus' finger roll would have been that stick. I think he would have got it. Some of them in there.
You were in your element. You were like a big kid on the court. Like you were just.
I would have went out there and played.
Yeah.
I could not have done any worse than anybody in
They were missing them threes.
Listen, to walk up to Marvin Sapp and say, "Hey, never would have made it." It was an awesome time.
It was.
And we had press passes.
Yes, we had the press passes. You know.
Side joke.
Had the press passes.
And we had the press passes. And we got to keep them.
We got to keep them.
We had to keep our press passes. Not at all. They didn't repo them.
Give me that.
But it was awesome. We had a great time. But that's just some of the amazing events that's happening here in Atlanta. I mean, just the Stellar Awards, celebrity basketball. See all the gospel stars come out and play, interact, and just be real people. That was really awesome. I think that's something a lot of people need to actually interact, because people are people. These are their jobs and what they do, but they're still humans. And I think that the connection that you're making. It's awesome. It's a great time.
We still didn't find out who the young lady was, right? Who was she?
But listen. They didn't want to see her on the court. Because
you could tell she could play.
No, she was a player. She played.
Did she play?
I believe so.
Did she play?
Her behind the ankle dribble was awesome. We was watching. I think she was a WNBA player.
Okay. Yeah, because she had that stance. Like, she was ready.
No. It wasn't the stance. It was, first of all, when you got the Jordan calves and you dribbling around your ankles and you, I was like, they didn't want to see her on the court.
She probably was frustrated with, like, man, for real, y'all missing these threes and whatever, because she was just like.
They were missing layups.
Yeah, they were. They were missing all of it. Hey, y'all.
I'm talking about
wide. Somebody said Sarah Nicole or something. Is that?
Sharon Nicole. Sherry Nicole. Oh, okay.
Listen.
Does she play? So she plays with the WNBA? Because she was ready. She had the jersey on.
They didn't want to see her. They didn't at all. Nope. Not at all. The fellas didn't know. It was a great time, but it was cool to see them in that element, in the sports element, just having a good time. Just with people. And we had an awesome time, made a lot of great connections. And, TKO 101 Radio was just in the building. We had an awesome time.
What do you think about the, real quick before we go into to the next segment, what do you think about the whole Britney? What do y'all think about that?
I think it's a really unfortunate political little puppet show that they're putting on and using her as that, and it's a shame. And I do feel that if it were a male dominant athlete that was stuck in, but people have to realize in basketball, she was a dominant player in the WNBA. One of the greatest. We'll go down as one of the greatest for sure.
Right.
She's young in her career. Like they say, we're not gonna put the jacket on her just yet, but the skills are there. So, but if this was, and I'm gonna be honest with you, if we just transition this to, if this were a NBA player, let's say
LeBron. That's what's our folks been saying. LeBron.
LeBron would be home. LeBron when they got stopped.
LeBron wouldn't have went there.
Right. And that brings up the next issue. Why these young women have to go overseas and play.
Yes.
Why and I'll be honest with you, the WNBA can partner with the NBA and share the revenue and get these women paid, and they won't miss a beat. The NFL's doing it all the time. They've created other leagues and support.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these young ladies are getting paid other money to go overseas, more money than what they're being paid right here in our country.
Yeah. So will her career be over after
Not at all.
this?
Not at all. Not at all.
It depends on what the sentencing looks like.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to transfer her. Like that's why she pled guilty. They're trying to transfer her to America.
Okay. That is just crazy.
But they want a Russian detainee in trade for her.
Now that part, I'm like, that's where you know it's.
That's where the political part came in.
So Koji said LeBron wouldn't have the vape with him though.
I mean, that's arguable. That's very arguable.
Now, do you think she played guilty just for her
reason? From everything I've read and listened to, she pled guilty so that she can get a lighter sentencing and then a quicker sentencing. And then with the quicker sentencing and with a lighter sentencing, she's more likely to be able to get transferred to America.
Okay.
That's even worse and sad that you have to, in order to just to.
Right.
But the thing is, though, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. A pro player of that caliber wouldn't have been flying commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like literally, this girl can get on the court and cook dudes. But they're not paid. They're not paid. And so basically you have a superstar that's living like, a shadow. And that's a shame that these girls are that good.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, they brought the gold home before the fellas did.
Yeah.
So Tank, with that being said, and not to open up a big wide conversation on that, but still need to be talked about. Would you just saying what you said? Is it disrespectful if women are allowed to play with men and just stop this separation of men basketball, women basketball, just sports in general, if women just played with men?
To a certain degree, but still it wouldn't be an even playing field because the physicality that men can inflict, women and I say this with all due respect.
Yeah.
Women can't do. A woman's body can't take a hit the way a man's can.
Yeah, I know I can't, but I'd be like, I fall out.
Listen, I always
he
go
hit
back
me.
to this scenario.
That's why I didn't play
when
sports.
You have a woman, imagine a woman playing linebacker and you have a sweep and you have two grown guards coming around the corner.
Yeah.
That's like staring down the barrel of a gun. You have 300-pound men that run a 4-5 rolling towards you and you got to stick your head in there?
Yeah.
Do you actually think that physically her body? No, a man's body, and let's just be honest, it is not a woman's fault that genetically men are can take the hit.
You ain't got to apologize to me because I am one of those women. I'm like, I do not do physical sports. That's why I did not.
I mean, but when you see it looks horrible. It's like, well, why you let him hit her? She wanted to play.
Even some of the girls that I used to play volleyball with, I was like, my coach was like, oh, you cannot play. I said, you want me to what? Like I played volleyball in college for.
Don't tell me you had your hands like this.
I did. I was on the volleyball court. I played volleyball for Morris Brown for like 2 days because after they required, I was like.
First of all, your hands in the please position.
I mean, I did it, but then you want me to run and man, come on, I don't do all that.
So when they said you might sweat, what happened?
Oh no, that took the cake right there. I am not sweating. So I sat on the bench. I'm proud of it. For that semester. I
was just wondering because you have some
I don't
women
do
that
sports.
are actually built like that, but they're still feminine.
I'll stay in my feminine lane.
I don't care how built you are as a woman. There's a difference. You will not be able to take. If you listen, when Trent Williams comes around that corner, he is not coming to sell snacks. He's coming to remove everything in front of him.
More power to girls and the women who are out there in the sports because I'd be like, oh my gosh, did she just hit her in the chest?
But within their own realm against each other. I mean, you have some women who are awesome athletes.
Yeah, they are.
Flag football that was just highlighted this weekend in the World Games. Women play. There's the quarterback for the women's team is a 9-time champion. She's considered the female Tom Brady.
Oh, wow.
Remote power, girl power. I am all for female.
And they sweat.
as athletes, I really am. It just never was for me. I did the cheerleading, and even that was a limit.
It was a slow clap.
I just was one of those girls. I was just
whatsoever.
I just wanted to look cute in the uniforms. That all came down to it. I just wanted to be cute on the field.
You were the little girl at the dance practice, staring in the mirror.
I sure was. I was like, you want me to do what? You want me to get up? Oh, okay. See, I got the passes. I got the cute. I, rode the bus to the games across the city.
Don't listen to this
I was on the drill team. Dorsey High. Yes, I was.
All that you can
but
be.
when it was time for performance now, I got on out there. I did my thing. But I did it cute.
Lord have mercy.
My dad bought us tennis rackets and all. I was like, what you thought we were gonna be like Serena them in the hood? No, I know we were down the street from each other, but
when it's warm outside,
he brought them tennis rackets like we were gonna compete with them down the street in Compton. No. Some girls are out there. It's hot in LA. What? We were in LA. I'm serious. My dad bought tennis rackets. He's like, stay down there. I said, okay. What you want me to do? Man.
Ladies, stay motivated.
No.
Be all you can be, ladies.
No,
be all you can
yes,
be.
please do so. But this girl was not. I was. I had to get my nails and stuff done. No, man.
Oh my goodness.
So we are live on one-on-one TKO radio. We're just wrapping it up with Tank the Sports Guy. Listen, are we taking a song break? Okay, so listen, when we come back from this song, we are going to jump right in this conversation, y'all. We have Mr. Ray James here with us live in the studio. So listen, stay locked in to one-on-one TKO radio. We'll be right back. are back live on 101 TKO Radio. It's your girl, TaShon of the Mail Room. We just finished up a segment with Tank, the sports guy. And listen, we're going to jump right in. We have our special guest in the building. You've been hearing him because he's been on the sideline talking. But listen, we have Ray James, Mr. Ray James. I'm going to read a little bit of his bio. Mr. Ray James' post-secondary journey began at Louisiana State University, where he earned a bachelor's in political science and a master's in higher education administration. He served as the graduate assistant and program manager in the Office of First-Year Experience, designing programs to support success for incoming freshmen and minority students at LSU. Realizing the urgent need for Black male educators, Ray transitioned to K-12 schools, where he's worked for nearly a decade as a teacher and leader in Clayton County and Atlanta Public Schools, KIPP Metro Atlanta Schools, and KIPP New Jersey Schools in Newark, New Jersey. Ray has served as an ELA teacher, school turnaround educator, grade level chair, and director of extended learning. Most recently, Ray served as founding assistant principal at KIPP Soul Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. In this position, he was responsible for designing and implementing curriculum and building out the regional anti-racism, professional development, and culture of independent reading programs. He's smart, y'all. Both efforts made the urgent needs of students returning to school post-COVID. Ray is also heavily involved in community organizing for educational equity and reform with local school districts and community organizations. Ray leads a variety of different efforts at 2Rev to increase learner-centered and equitable environments in formal and informal education settings, eager to put the revolution in the hands of learners, now and forevermore. Outside of professional interests, he enjoys spending time with his wife, Ryan, and their two young, beautiful daughters, Kendall and Camille, and relishes victories for the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, LSU Tigers, and the culture, political, politics, hip hop, etc. LA Laker girl. Let's help me welcome Mr. Ray James to the Mail Room, you guys. Listen,
Ray James.
You know what?
What?
Unlike the Lakers in street clothes, this man said he available. He available.
I second that one.
I'm not. And no shame in my game. I'm not available to see.
Street clothes.
How you doing, Mr. James? Long time no see. He is also my former co-worker. Listen, he is a smart teacher, right? You have those teachers who are scholarly teachers. Then you have those teachers like me who's just like, boy, did you bring a pencil to school today? Did you bring a pencil? That's all I want. Did you bring a pencil? What's going on today? You got those teachers, educators like James, that's going to teach the world like you in. And I love his, you have to have those teachers like that. And like you have to have that balance, because then you got us to be like, look, yeah, because it's like we don't have the energy at the time to teach all about the world no more. Like if we just get in here. How's it going, Mr. James?
It's going good. I cannot complain at all.
I see. Look, tell us who you are and what you do, and let's get into this conversation, because again, you're not just an educator. You really are about that change, about that life. Like you are one of those educators who got in this profession. Of course, everybody knows you don't get in for the money.
Not at all.
No money. You don't even get in for the summers and all that, the holiday break. You really get into this profession because you want to see a difference among our youth, and especially our brown and Black youth. So tell us who you are and what you're doing.
So that bio was like real wordy. I need to shorten it, but I'm a true country boy, born and bred Louisiana. Got a Louisiana connection in the studio too. And growing up in Louisiana, I didn't know like about education. I didn't know about like what schooling meant.
Okay.
I knew like I went through school.
Yeah.
And because my parents told me to, and my parents told me like I need to go to college, and that was what I did. I didn't really question it, didn't really understand it, or like where I fit in the puzzle, but I did it. And made decent grades, good enough to be able to go to LSU for undergrad. And once I got to LSU, you know, somewhat world-renowned university, and that's when I started to realize, like, like the education that I had coming up was not like good enough. Like I didn't, and then I started doing a little research. I was like, I didn't know my school was like on the verge of like closing down. I didn't know the elementary I went to like turned into alternative school. Like I didn't know what it meant. I knew it happened, but I didn't know the implications of it. And then because of that, you know, I almost failed out of college. And the biggest motivation to not fall out of not fail out was I'm from the country, and I was like, if I go home, like it's over for me. Like it's nothing once I go home. If I go back to little old Monroe, Louisiana, like you could throw that down the drain. You're done. So luckily, I was always involved in college. And was super involved in everything I could get my hands on or be a part of. Like I mentioned to you, I had a radio show when I was in college. I did everything I could do in college. I was on LSU's women's practice team. I was president of every club I could do. And got towards the end of college, not knowing what I wanted to do, and realized I didn't want to go to law school. And I had a meeting with a guy named Kurt Kepler. He was the vice president of student affairs at the time. He was like, yo, you should apply to our student affairs program. Now, mind you, I graduated undergrad with a 2.6 GPA because I had a lot of fun in college. And a 2.6 GPA is not good enough to get into nobody's graduate school.
Not at all.
Let me speak.
Not at all.
Let me speak to you, my bro.
Speak.
2.6. You had a in Baton Rouge.
Academic probation.
I was on academic probation.
But you know what though? I know you had more than a good time.
I'm going back to Baton Rouge September 9th because LSU is playing Southern for the first time ever, and I will be in Baton Rouge.
It's gonna be on fire.
The city will be on fire, and I will be present for all of it. Come on, man. Coming to the South Side. Come on, man.
So y'all partied like that, and so y'all didn't get y'all education like that.
Like I got some homies that are like brothers to me.
People that went to LSU came to Stylingville on Friday to walk on and vice versa.
Come on, man. Like every Wednesday I was at Southern, Pretty Wednesdays. Every Friday I was over there.
Still remember the days, y'all.
I went to a PWI, but I got a very HBCU experience, and I brought all of that energy over to the white school at LSU. But so got towards the end of college and realized like my grades weren't good enough to get into anybody's graduate program. Like I said, Dr. Kurt Kepler, shout out to him. He was like, yo, you should apply. And I was like, cool, I'll apply. But like, I know at the time, I was like, I know what my grades are. And I don't think he knew. And I took the GRE and GRE, like basic score back then, I think they've changed it, but to get into any graduate school, you had to get at least an 800. Most more prestigious programs, you got to get above that. I got an 810.
Wow.
And I applied, and I know it wasn't nothing but people that knew me, knew the work I was capable of doing, and probably knew that like, yo, he messed around a lot in college. That's why his GPA looked like that. Let him in the program. And got into the higher ed program and started working for LSU as well. And actually went to a conference, accepted a job with the University of Kansas to work in their residence life program. Around 9 a.m. And then by 5 p.m., this is like spring 2012, I'm getting ready to graduate with my master's. And John Legend was the keynote speaker at the conference. And at the time, he was on the national board for Teach for America. And he pretty much talked about the big gap between Black kids, especially Black boys, that make it to college versus those that don't. And I was like, cool, like I'm not in my calling right now. I need to go and Sankofa. I need to go back and get it in terms of the boys that's not making it. And applied to Teach for America, got in. Also like because of connections, not because of like Teach for America is a prestigious program. Like they accept people from Ivy League, not 2.6 GPA.
Do they still have Teach for America? They do. Okay.
Now I will say I graduated graduate school with a 3.9 GPA.
There you go.
I applied myself. And, and once I finished up graduate school, moved out to Atlanta, started teaching in Clayton County. This was like a year after they got their accreditation back. So it was like working in the jungle. And kind of taught myself how to teach and started hearing about KIPP a little bit during my first year or so and applied and worked for KIPP for a little while. In Atlanta, didn't really like the way that I saw things going. I felt like things could be better.
Yeah.
And ended up having a good friend, Langston Longley, who I was doing some community organizing with at the time. He was like, brother, you should come work in my school.
Yeah.
You're a turnaround teacher. And I was like, and that's where I met Miss Collier.
Yeah.
And had a real good time over there at Scott. And then my wife finished up her PhD.
Okay.
And we moved up to Jersey. She was teaching in New York, and I was working for KIPP, New Jersey. Did a lot of crazy, cool things up there. And got back to Atlanta right when the pandemic started. It's kind of crazy because March the 6th, which is a Friday, I came to Atlanta because my wife and daughter moved to Atlanta in December 2019, right before the pandemic. Okay. They moved back, and my plan was to finish out the school year in Jersey. And, you know, life happened. The world happened. And we went through this thing called a global pandemic, which we're still kind of going through. And I ended up coming to Atlanta on March the 13th because my school closed down for what we thought would be 2 weeks.
Them 2 weeks.
And I was like, cool. Like all my clothes, my car, everything is in Jersey. And I was like, cool. My wife and my daughter down here, I could survive off, you know, weekends worth of clothes for 2 weeks. But that 2 weeks ended up turning into 3 months. And finally got back to Jersey June. My car wasn't running like it was before. Since I've had to get rid of that bad boy because the pandemic ruined it because it wasn't driving for 3 months. And I helped to found KIPP Soul Academy, which I'm super, super proud of. It's one of the top schools in KIPP nationally.
It is.
And not to toot our own horn, but like, you know, we have done some really good numbers.
Yeah.
One of the top schools for ELA and math in terms of KIPP in Atlanta the past couple of years. And literally like a top 10 KIPP school nationally. And have since transitioned from schools. Title is senior consultant. I work for an organization called 2Revolutions that focuses on competency-based education, and our North Stars are pretty much student-centered and learner-centered education and equitable education. And we look at classroom, schools, and systems. Right. And try to impact policy, practice, and structure.
Okay.
Yep. So that's that's professionally, but I'm a Christian, I'm a daddy, I'm a husband, I'm a brother, I'm a homie, and a bunch of other titles that I might not say on the radio.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. James, I have a quick question for you.
Man.
Teach for America. How long you say you did that for?
How long was I a teacher?
Yeah, you say you did. You were part of the Teach for America, right?
Yeah. Teach for America is a 2-year commitment, and then you know, some people decide to keep teaching. Yeah. Which I did, and some people choose to, you know, go different paths and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, my ex-wife, we got transferred from Georgia to Mississippi, and that's what she did hers at, and that was a weird experience.
Yeah, very weird.
I remember when that program came out, all us veteran teachers, we were along in the game. We were like, Teach for America. They come in and take our jobs. Like, we were so against it at first. We were just, because we didn't know what it was. Like the scenario had been put to like, okay, well, we got all these new people. They're coming in from corporate. They're coming in, taking over. So the message to us was like, wait a minute. You mean they ain't had to go to school for 4, 5, 6, 7 years? Yep. They coming from a new. I welcome anybody from Teach America right now. Like, come on in, because we, like, after a while, when we finally got to really actually know what was the program about, and we're like, okay, cool, because you need fresh blood, you need fresh people in there, whatever. Yep. So I didn't know you went through the program to get over there.
And you know, Teach for America, KIPP both have, like, you know, hit or miss reputations nationally. But the thing that I appreciate about Teach for America is that for people like me who went to college just because somebody told them, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, it gave me a path into teaching, which, you know, became my career. In a way that, like, otherwise I would have never had.
Right. And it's a blessing to you, and for those coming from the traditional educators path, because again, like you said, we went to school, you're going to school all these years or whatever, and then you I don't want to say stuck, but you end up being in this career and you get burned out. Whereas you all have different avenues. You know what it looks like on the outside of education. So you can make that decision, be like, you know what, I'm gonna give y'all about 2-3 years, 5, let me take a break. The rest of us stayed in 20-30 years and we're tired. So that's where that burnout comes from. So I didn't know if they still had the program because I didn't hear anybody else. So okay, that's good.
They got they got a new core coming in. They actually just finished up their institute and they're getting ready to hit classrooms in about 2-3 weeks.
Really? Yep. That'll be good because y'all, I keep trying to tell my parents the teacher shortage is real.
Yo, it's so real.
Can you please reiterate that? Because people don't believe the teacher shortage is real. And I want to talk to our audience about that because again, you've been in the trenches and I think in our career, the pandemic was out of my 28 years of teaching, the pandemic teaching was the hardest of my career. Like it was it was hard. It was difficult, because again, we're dealing with health. You're dealing with mental health, your physical health. It was just so much and nobody really stopped to ask teachers how you were doing. It was just all about, we got to get these kids. Yeah. So talk to us how that was for you because you were opening a school during the pandemic.
So it was the pandemic was the wildest. I mean, we're still living through it, so I don't know why people say it.
Right.
But it was wild because the planning that we did, like going into Soul Academy, me, Amy, Corinthia, Ovella, and like our founding team at Soul Academy, we started planning. So like Amy was planning Soul in like 2018, 2019. And then we all got on board like right at the start of 2020 and we're like planning like what our school was going to look like operationally, structurally, culturally, all of that. And, once March 2020 hit, we were like, yo, what are we about to do? Like schools have shut down. And we're trying to open a school. And picture this, day one of school, August 2020, I think it was August 2nd or something like that. 2020. I'm in my daughter's room because I was living in an apartment at the time and didn't have no home office. And on Zoom, on my Zoom that I opened up, we founded a middle school in Atlanta with babies from all over the city of Atlanta, primarily coming from the Bankhead area. Our school is right off Hollowell Parkway. You drive down, you're on Old Bankhead. And so that's where the majority of our kids from. And we started out with 5th and 6th grade on Zoom. We had about 170 kids on Zoom.
Wow.
Found a middle school.
That was an adventure.
And we doing lunch and recess on Zoom. We doing after school clubs on Zoom. I'm instructional coach and teachers on Zoom. And it was wild because like it became like they said, it became the new normal. And it was just like, this is what we do. We log in for school. Some kids, go off camera, log out for lunch. Some kids, we had a crew of about, 20 kids that's like during lunch. They walk around their house and cooking. I'm trying to make me some food. Maybe got one of my girls with me. And it was cool because we were finally able to get into the building around March 2021. And it was just so refreshing. And it was like, we needed this. But, we also didn't realize that the fatigue of going back into a building after sitting at home, especially for people who were like new to KIPP, and didn't know like KIPP hours is like you're gonna be at work like 10 hours a day, like that's your contract hours. You working 10 hours a day at work, and if you're working in administration, you're ready for a 12-hour shift, and versus like virtually the work day was like 6 hours. So to go from 6 to 12 hours or how much time, a lot of people, especially in the 21-22 school year, a lot of people felt tired like they had never felt before because you sat at home, your body got used to walking and moving.
You got to go to the bathroom.
You know what I mean?
He didn't want to.
So I mean, it was wild, and it made me realize one, that change is possible. Because like we were forced to change. But it also was scary because while still living through a pandemic, people tried to go back to what we were doing in 2019 and before, and it's like, one, everybody knows that model of education doesn't work, especially doesn't work for Black and brown and poor people. And then you add to like the technology crisis that's happening with technology illiteracy, which is something that I feel like parents need to like Go ahead and get over your curve, your learning curve, and like if you got a kid right now, you need to be tech literate, because otherwise, like,
please say that loud and clear.
Parents, you need to be tech literate. If you are not tech literate, your kids will suffer.
Yeah. One more time, because I refuse to change people.
Parents, you need to be tech literate. I ain't say you need to be a tech guru. You need to be tech literate. You need to know the basics of how to work a computer, how to work Google Suite, how to just function,
how to use a smartphone.
You know what I mean?
There are people out there who do not use smartphones,
and that's wild to me.
Yeah, or still just I was telling somebody for the back to school supplies. I said get Wi-Fi, get your hotspot, and get a device. Again, they're looking for the schools to give them to, but I'm like, but you still at this age now, you need to have your own device.
And it's not like they're not available. I mean, some people. I meet people who don't even use email.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like, whenever I see, and this is no shade, hopefully I'm not about to throw any of y'all.
No, you good.
But like, whenever I see people in 2022 that still have like a Hotmail, shout out to my mama, Phyllis James. Hotmail last 20 years. 30 years probably.
Hotmail.
You know what I mean? Or a Yahoo account. I'm just like, yo, you might be behind the curve. Like, yo, you got AOL. Interface that and connect that with your smartphone.
Yeah.
And likewise, my mama AOL still. If she pull up email, she is sitting at her desktop.
That's right.
Ain't got no laptop. She's sitting at her desktop. But luckily, my mama ain't got no kids in school right now. So she don't really need to be tech literate. But if you got kids still in the system, like, you need to know what's going on.
Yeah, but the thing is, everybody needs to be tech literate because the pandemic opened up a huge gap and shown that gap. Even with, for instance, do you know that our counterparts have been getting video appointments and treatments for years?
Come on, man.
We have just been brought to light that this is going on and can be done. But the thing is, we're more resistant to the technology aspect. And the thing is, you can, and it's not a bad thing. You can actually have a virtual appointment. Get everything you need done. Walk into the blood center and get the blood taken, and bam, you're done.
Right.
And you didn't have to wait 14, 21 days for the appointment. They can do it virtually. It's the same thing, but we're resistant to it. And it showed in the pandemic, like people would get seen in treatment for things that were very important. Due to the fact they couldn't physically go into the office. I can't physically go in. I don't do online.
Right.
Well, Mr. James, my big question is the curriculum. Do you guys have a little bit more control on the curriculum that you guys are teaching, or do you still have to go by what I feel public school is a minimalist?
So that's a good question. Also, one of the reasons why I was like, cool, it's time for me to leave. But in terms of curriculum, most public schools do have some type of standardized curriculum that they use. Common Core is pretty widely and broadly used across most American public schools. And Common Core is just like a set of standards. It's not a curriculum, but it is a set of standards that you know, a kid in New Jersey, a kid in New Hampshire, a kid in Cali, a kid in Atlanta, that way, you know, trying to even the playing field. Like, cool, in fourth grade, these are the English standards.
Right.
Now, the curriculum you use to actually like actuate and bring them standards to life is very specific to your state. It's very specific to your region, specific to your school type, if you're in a public school or a charter school. And being that I've worked in both, when I was working in public schools, like when I was working in Clayton County or APS, like I had my standards and like I had some pieces of curriculum given to me, but it wasn't like a quality curriculum that was like super vetted and that would, you know, get some proven results.
Right.
Versus like when I've been with KIPP, and I'm speaking for English. I've been an English teacher for a long time, and they have a curriculum called KIPP Wheatley, which, you know, is, for better or worse, it's a decent curriculum. I actually just finished up my last task with KIPP was I was on the national equity audit team for their ELA curriculum to try and figure out where are the gaps in this curriculum from an equity and racial and a racial equality standpoint. Because a lot of curriculum are not written by people that look like us. A lot of curriculum and the things that they use as like background knowledge or things that they expect kids to just automatically get are not reflective of our communities. Like I remember growing up, like this was like a thing. As I look back, I was like, oh, this is when I started realizing curriculum was messed up. Because I'm from the deep South, I'm from Louisiana.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a difference between a jacket and a coat.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
And like my wife was from Michigan, and she was like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna bring my jacket. And she's like, boy, you better get a coat. And I'm like, she's like, no, it's a difference. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And like I remember like on tests growing up, they would talk about skiing or talk about the coat, and I'm like, but I'm from Louisiana. I've seen snow 3 times.
Exactly.
Like, what you talking about skiing on it? Like the snow is gone in about an hour. Like, how am I going to ski on it? So, you know, just small things like that, that shapes a curriculum, or like the books that they use, the authors who's writing them, all those things impact, you know, what our kids are learning. And you add on top of that, like what's happening right now with what they call the CRT, critical race theory, which in my opinion is wild, because I studied CRT in graduate school, which is like some of the critical history of like American history and how race came to be a thing. And because you got crazy, I hate to say it, but you got some crazy lawmakers and some crazy white folks that are in power that are saying that just because we're teaching certain aspects, and all of this didn't happen until America got woke after George Floyd got killed. And they started putting in place because people got woke and people started realizing, oh, America really is a bad place for Black people. And they were like, cool, we need to put in some laws that will make sure that teachers don't go out here talking about what really happened during slavery. And what really happened post-slavery. What really happened for like 100 more years. And what's really going on right now. And all of that is impacting curriculum, because people are changing, literally changing history. Like I saw in Texas, they're changing the words slave to like
involuntary relocation.
That's why I asked that question.
Relocated. What?
Like what was?
You mean stolen?
Right.
You mean kidnapped?
But just the fact that they're actually discussing this in a group, and for you to come to the table and you're like, wow, did they just really say that?
They're right now scared because the number of pure white people, as they call it, is dwindling down.
I mean, that's what it's all about.
And that is a fear.
And you see it in school. You see it in school. Whenever you start, we're in the heart of Atlanta, and again, being that long in that zip code, and that the main education district, when you start dwindling out Black History Month, MLK Day, we're in the city of King, and it's not even in our lesson plan.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally, over the years, I was like, you know, you try to prepare for your lesson plans or whatever, and you're looking at the lesson plan like, wait a minute, where's King Day? Where's but we have started to include everybody else and start fading out. And that's when I knew something is, especially for our Black and brown children. And I keep telling parents, I love everybody. I teach all kids. I love them. But I have a deeper love for my Black and brown babies, because I see us falling again over and over, year after year, falling by the wayside. James, tell us, how was it? What was the big difference that you saw from a charter school to a public school with our babies?
So public schools, you get, my first principal, when I was in Clayton County, she told me something that sat with me forever. She said, parents don't keep the good kids at home. They send you their very best. And that's what you get in public schools. You get parents' very best. They do not keep the good kids at home. And so you get whatever the community has produced. You get whatever the family has produced. And it is very localized. The schools look how the way the community looks, from the funding to the literal people in them. Whereas with charter schools, I like charter schools. I see, because I've worked in them in the North and the South, I see pros and cons to it. One of the biggest cons, I'll start with the con because I think some of the pros outweigh it. The biggest con is that it kind of splits up the community because of the way that enrollment goes. It's like I said, my school we were Atlanta wide. Even though we had a priority enrollment for kids that live near Hollowell, Bankhead area, that was our priority. However, if a kid, if you applied on time and you live on the north side and your parents are millionaires, and your parents just want you to go to Kipsole Academy, you can go there. Which is like, it's for community development, it's not that good.
Yeah.
Because you got resources leaving the community, you got knowledge leaving the community. Yep. But from an experience standpoint, kids that grow up in Bankhead may be able to interact and become great friends with somebody whose parents is millionaires, who have a totally different experience. Mm-hmm. And then also some of because of the hours of most charter schools, the instructional coaching that you get at a charter school is usually a little bit stronger because you got time built into the schedule for it. Whereas like with most public schools, it's like, yo, we get coached on like PD day. And like you might come observe me like maybe like no shade. When I was at Scott, I think I got observed like 3-4 times. And that was because they were like, yo, James don't have no discipline problems. He know what he's talking about. He good with the kids. Cool. We ain't got to go bother him. Whereas like when I didn't get coached in KIPP when I was first here, but when I went to Jersey, I had a coach, white lady, one of my favorite people in the world, named Mario Aguero, and she was my instructional coach, and she would be in my room once a week. And then observing me once a week, and then also I'm meeting with her once a week to go through my lessons, to look at data, to really like dig in and like figure out strategically how to like teach and how to get better, how to move kids strategically, as opposed to just like, cool, I got the data, all right, cool, I really don't do nothing with it, and I don't look at it again until the next time we taking the test. So just some of the intentionality, and then another big pro is the way that they're funded, because they are publicly funded and they are able to get private funds as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like it's crazy because I got homies who are public school educators and have for a long time thought that because I work at a charter school, I work at a private school, and I'm like, nah, bro, like what are you talking about?
See, I thought that too.
It's a public charter school.
Okay, gotcha.
And so because it's a public charter school, from a safety standpoint, like a building standpoint, we have to adhere to everything that the state and any public school. And from an assessment standpoint, like state assessments, we have to take those. And then, whereas like with charter schools, it's easier for a school to get closed down because if they are not producing the results that they said, like, cool, we're not going to adhere to all your rules, but we're going to get the results. That's pretty much what a charter school is. We're not going to adhere to all your rules, but we're going to get results, and hopefully we're going to get better results. Which makes it easier for a charter school to be closed down because if they don't get the results, your charter is only for so long. So most charters are like 3 to 5 years, and then you have to reapply for your charter. And if you haven't been getting results, they close your school down quick. Whereas with a public school, it's like, yo, it has to go through now you're in a turnaround phase. Maybe you come out, maybe you go back in, and it can take 20 years, which can also end up depressing a community. Because it takes so long for a terrible school to like kind of run its course.
And we were at a turnaround school, and it's hard. It's worth it. I know you posted it's worth it, and it's also challenging because, like you said, it can be depressing because you're like, you're teaching your butt off, you're implementing these programs, but it's just not turning around fast enough for what we need. The results are not coming in.
In real life, when I was at Scott, some me and Longley used to talk about, because we did community organizing together. 30318 is the most educationally deprived zip code in the entire state. Like, and that's in the entire state.
That entire state. And I told
we got a lot of poor rural areas in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia. But you mean tell me the most educationally deprived is in Atlanta on the west side?
28 years. I saw it.
With y'all being educators, do y'all think that the public schools are basically failing colored kids when it comes to education? Because, and the reason why I ask is, if you look at how public school is set up, and I'm just an outsider looking in, is how white people have started to have over the years separated themselves and established the charter schools, established the private schools, where if you look in how they're being taught, I'm thinking, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like financial type things and more maybe I can say a little balance of life and education, versus public school is just really kind of teaching you how to go to get ready for the workforce.
Well, hold that thought. When we come back, that's a good question. Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick song break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss that, because that is a very good question. Again, we are live on 101 TKO Radio, the mail room. Stay connected. And we are live. We are back on live on 101 TKO Radio. I'm your girl, TaShon of the Mailroom. We got Thank the Sports Guy. We got LaRon, Mr. Take It Over. And we have our guest in the building, Mr. Ray James. Listen, we are having a dope conversation again. And you know, the Mailroom, we're going to have you back because this is an ongoing conversation, especially post-COVID education. LaRon, you had a question. You did you write it down?
No, I did not. But no, it was just basically calls here recently. You know, I did my show Wednesday about the colored folk cities that's been taken over, like flooded and disappeared and whatnot. So to hear Mr. James and starting the school and whatnot, and because I didn't know. I'm 42 years old, and I just found out that there were actually black schools back in the days. And so my opinion, I just feel that when colors were incorporated into public schooling, that it allowed white people back then, and I still want to say now, that to separate themselves and also dumb us down even more because like you guys just said, you know, we have to send our kids to school, right? The public school, if we don't have the money for charters or private school. And if we don't send them to school, the parents are liable to get arrested. And I just really feel like our kids in just regular public school are just being taught just to get ready to work for corporate. And it's nothing, no form of substance being taught to our kids. And even going to what you were just stating about with the phasing out of Black history, where, you know, it was already little to none. If you only had your, what, 5 people, if that, which you had to choose from every year. So you basically hearing the same old speech, the same old words about the same old people. Not saying that these people didn't do anything, but there were more great color people that did awesome things back in the days and even now. And so for you to limit on or limit my child on what they're learning because there's no communication skills being learned in school, no finance being learned in school. I'm just learning finances myself, and that's due to my wife. And again, 42 years old. And so I'm like, is where's the do y'all see that difference to where public school is like a dumbfounding our kids?
So one, no. But I will say that one of the biggest ways that structural racism lives in America is the fact that public schools are funded based on property ownership. That is just inherently racist when you go back to redlining and like people being able to get loans for homes. And we know that there's a history of racial, like just racial segregation and racial, like just push out, like point blank period. That's one of the biggest ways that structural racism lives because take into account 30318, for example, property ownership around there is little to none. Most people rent. And the property is owned by white corporations, white people, whatever the case may be. And so the literal amount of funds that school is able to get is less because people in that neighborhood don't own their property.
Have you driven by there lately? You see what's
happening? They changing.
But
they gonna push out. They're gonna push out. Don't worry. They're going to push out. And so I was reading a book recently. It's actually called Critical Race Theory. It's written by Critical Race Theory, or I can't remember the full name of the book, but it's Gloria Ladson-Billings' most recent book. She's the educator who came up with the culturally relevant pedagogy. And she was talking about intellectual property. And it's funny that you mentioned, do I feel like schools are dumbing our kids down? So yes and no. I feel like society is dumbing us as a people down. Like
I definitely believe that.
Like even when you go back to the Brittany Griner thing, like we are dumbed down because we believe and we've been socially conditioned to think that women are not as dominant equal as to men, but like we didn't come out the womb believing that.
Yeah.
That was something that society taught us.
Right.
Yep.
In the same way that society has taught us that in Black and brown schools, there are certain things that should be taught, which goes back to my point around intellectual property.
Yep.
So like literally one of the differences between public and charter is like when I was with KIP, like I had like 100 books that I could give to kids to take home. And we can like, cool, part of your homework is read 20 pages from that.
Yep.
And then, and so you are literally gaining and building your intellectual property. Like you are building in intellect into your knowledge.
Yeah.
Versus like when I was in Clayton County and like at Scott, I ain't get no novels. Like, let's just be very clear. I ain't get no novels.
We did.
When I was in Clayton County, I got books one time. I never will forget. It was George Washington Socks. That was the name of the book. I had 30 books. And I told the kids, you can't write in them. You can't take them home. Sorry, you can't engage. So from an intellectual standpoint, the kids literally cannot even take books home.
Right.
And and then you get into like the classes and courses that are offered at public versus charter. That all boils down to the funding that the school gets and what they're able to put into their course offerings. And if the school community like is funded very poorly, cool, they can't afford to have a lab and then get that intellectual property that they would then get from the experiences working in a science lab. And then like I don't even want to get into literacy and whatnot. Like my wife works at the Atlanta Speech School. She's about to be the chief academic officer.
Wow, cool.
And like the support that they give to schools is wild because from an intellectual property standpoint, they are like pushing the science of reading, which is something that needs to be in more Black and brown schools.
Right.
And we need to stop focusing on joy with little kids and start focusing on teaching our babies how to read. However, it also goes back to intellectual property of like, cool, did you learn how to teach reading in college? Did you get that intellectual property? Did your college teacher prep program or Teach for America teach you how to do this? More than likely, nah. But schools that service white kids, more than likely, they do that. And one thing that I like about the program that she's been working with for at the Rollins Center at the Atlanta Speech School is they give those resources for free.
They do, because they're partners with the pre-K, so they would come over.
And do training. In a way that like without that, like how are they gonna get it?
But that was the conflict, because here I am, and you know, of course, pre-K was not part of. It's funded by Georgia Lottery. So it was different in the public school. So we were pretty much our own little school within the public school. But anyhow, the Rollins Center would come over and they would give us all of these resources, right? But then I had to compete with APS's resources. But I'm like, but this makes sense. This is what I need to teach my pre-K, how to read. You want me to teach this, which I knew was a disservice. So I was that teacher that closed the door, meaning I'm going to do what I need to do for my babies because I've already been in this game long enough. I already see what's going to happen. We at pre-K. We got to teach them how. And it was sad, y'all. Even in 2022, out of my 16 babies, only 5 came into my class that knew the basics. And when I say the basics, knew the letters of the alphabet, upper, lowercase, knew their name. Knew, you know, just the basics. So I had to teach alphabet for the 4-year-olds in 2022 and whatever.
Listen, in the state of Georgia and in a few other states in America where structural racism lives, like kids can legally not go to school till 1st grade. Like pre-K and kindergarten
is not required.
So you take that and from an intellectual standpoint, for some parents, going back to school is like returning to the scene of a crime because that's where they whole lifetime messed up. And so cool. If I'm a parent and let's say I'm 33, if I ain't learned how to read and I went to Scott Elementary and now I got to send my kid back to Scott, I'm not going up there. I'm not supporting the school because I know what it's gonna do. However, I live here. Kids zoned for it. I ain't got the means to apply and send my kid to a charter school where they might not have a bus to pick them up. So cool. I gotta send my kids into this fire that I already know is a burning building. And now you expect me as a parent to like trust that?
I told parents, they did not believe me. I said, y'all, they don't have to come. When I was teaching 1st grade, I had some students who did not attend pre-K or kindergarten. So they came to me in 1st grade.
Not knowing
letters. Nothing.
You in 1st
literally.
grade.
And then you want me, and I could not retain this baby. I had 5, I'll never forget that year. because I cried as a teacher. I went home every day. I had 5 kids on my list that needed to be retained, and he was one of them. Grandmother refused. I said, ma'am, he is not passing anything. He's barely writing his name. He doesn't know because he did not attend. I had to pass that baby because he was not the lowest of my lowest. Now, mind you, he didn't know anything, but he was not the lowest of my lowest. And I had to pass it. So guess what? Now he's passed the 2nd grade. He ain't ready for 2nd or 3rd grade, which is a testing grade. We already know where that's going to go. So now the cycle
continues.
And you in middle school now.
The biggest thing
now they want to put you in special ed or whatever.
The parents, I'm sorry, as a parent, and you're invested in your child.
Somebody just said that. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I got invested.
Yeah,
like, I really got.
You
like,
have to.
When like you were saying, how you realize. I realized my Louisiana education when I moved out of the state and started interacting with different people and started seeing different things and how the world really was. That let me know how behind my state was.
Yeah,
right? Because of my love for reading.
Yeah.
And technology that propelled, and I made up for that deficiency. But it also enlightened me as I'm not letting my kids go.
Yeah. Yep. You have to invest in your and you know I am again. I'm that teacher that said, look, you ain't got to go out here and spend buku's money on all this. Go get you some index cards, right? Window, door, hang it up on the door. You know, just basic stuff. You know, and again. I would tell my parents and they'd be like, oh, for real? I'm like, yeah. I said, go to the dollar store and get some books.
Yeah.
My kids don't have libraries.
They don't have
them.
Like, and so funny story.
They don't have them.
In terms of me being an ELA teacher and an ELA assistant principal and like doing the stuff I do now, I didn't read it. Speaking of books, I didn't read a book cover to cover until I was in graduate school. I'm not lying to anyone in America. And I've told other people this. I've never told kids whenever I interact with them, but once they move on from me, I'll tell them like, yo, even though Mr. James was that guy that was all like pushing reading down your throat, you fall in love with reading and seeing the beauty of empathy through reading and seeing the world in a bigger way. I didn't read a book until I was in graduate school. And at that point, it was just a selfish thing. Like, I got to catch up for myself because I started to realize some stuff and I was like, cool. I'm not reading no fiction. I'm gonna read all the nonsense I get my hands on so I can learn to figure out what is going on and like how did things become like this. Because like I said, I don't think it's a matter of like, I don't think it's parents' fault that kids can't read. Some people, you know, I know you mentioned earlier, like it does start at home. That's arguable. But like I said, for some parents, it's like
they can't read either.
I can't read.
Yeah.
I think my
listen, we had a
and if I work a 9 to 5 and I'm making minimum wage and then I also got a part-time, I ain't got time to
you don't.
See, that's what society, but that's what society's doing. You know, it's setting us, it's setting the parents up. It used to be a moment where you could have that one parent at home. It ain't like that no more. And Mississippi is like when we moved to Mississippi for the Teach America thing, and my kids started going to school, I learned that all the kids were basically raising themselves because if it wasn't a single parent home, both parents were at home. I mean, at work. And so their kids were just out. And like he was saying, they didn't have no books. They couldn't bring any books home. You had people that were transferring out, coming to Georgia, where they were so far behind in Mississippi that their kids, like if they were like in 11th grade in Mississippi, they were in possibly 8th grade if they went to another state.
Yeah. Craig Senior said, I spend the time with my son and he's going to the 3rd grade. I feel like I'm behind with him because he's just now learning his timetable. Now, see, I'm really hard on parents and I get it. I'm not a parent, but being the oldest of 5, my parents, we were not rich. But one thing I can say, my mom, she took us to the local library. We went to Boys and Girls Club. You have to invest in you. You have to spend, when you have children, I just feel like that's one of those elements that needs to be taught. You got to invest somewhere, somehow. Go to the dollar store. I get it. Times are really rough right now because when you're at the gas station, you're trying to decide if you're going to eat or put gas. I get that. But also our priorities wrong. What I saw in 30318,
correct.
The priority. That's what upset me. because I had more parents. I had parents, and of course, in my career, I've had a lot of great ups. And I want people to understand, as a teacher, you do have those great up moments. But there were those times where I had parents to text me, call me late at night about a program, what to wear for the program, what to bring for a party. But I've been texting and calling you and emailing you about your child's progress. And you want to wait. I had people to call superintendent on us one year. I don't know if you were still there, about field day. A parent argued me down, called the superintendent on me, called it on Mr. Longley. She won't let. Now, I done had documentation. Your child been cutting a fool, and I'm going to say it, a fool in my classroom. You fight me, we fighting each other, and you worried about field day. You called downtown. My hands went just like that. I said, you got it. I said, you're more than welcome to have, because I saw it right at your priorities are so out and far beyond. And it frustrates you as an educator. All you want them to do is I just want you to learn. Just learn your basics.
The and to that is not an or, but the and to that is priorities are based on what you have access to. You prioritize what you got access to, and let's
explain
just say,
that to me, because I don't see that.
Because we as blacks, we will have access to stuff that we want versus our actual need.
So I mentioned earlier about Scott. Like Scott, even though it's in a rough zip code, is beautiful to me because you got long-standing more than any other school that I've worked at. Scott had the longest running teachers. So that lets you know something special going on. You know what I mean? However, from an access standpoint, it's a food desert.
It is.
Ain't no healthy food around. Ain't no healthy food around. Cool. From a developmental standpoint, my brain ain't growing.
Did you ever go to the grocery store that was over there? The inside, y'all, buy low, and I'm gonna put you on Front Street. Nastiest. I mean, the meat was rotten.
So I'm prioritizing what I got access to, and that's usually my wants and not my needs. So I got access to it's a liquor store around here. I can hit up the
car dealership,
the used car dealership. I can.
But is that purposely set up though? That's the question. Is it purposely set up?
It's a library near there. But it's no real community center around there. It's no like ain't no dentist within walking distance. Ain't no doctor within walking distance. You think about a kid. I remember I had a kid at Scott Elementary. Clown. I'm not gonna say his name. He's still in school right now. He graduates. If he on track, he's gonna graduate this upcoming year. And kid was cutting a fool, like you said. I ended up just pulling him one day, like, bro, what's going on? He says he had fifth grade. I'm like, cool, you can talk. What's up? He's like, man, my tooth killing me. I mean, man, you got a toothache. That's the problem. And when the last time you been to the dentist? I don't know, about a year or two ago. You mean tell me you 10 and you been to the dentist 2 years ago? Like, and just think about that. So even though like a school like Scott or any school in the Douglas cluster, like their priorities, quote unquote, may be off, they prioritize what they got access to. And it's a general lack of access over there. And in most Black and brown communities, it's a lack of access to just quality life things that, as you said, it's just normal to white folks. This is normal that like, I go to the bookstore with my kids.
And most of the teachers don't live in that community. And one thing I could pride myself on, I lived in that community. And that's what shocked a lot of people. They were like, you live? I said, yeah, I've always been in Atlanta. And my first principal, I was at Boyd, which is still in that same area. She used to tell us, because this was like Perry Holmes era. And she said, make sure you know where your kids that you're teaching live so you can have an understanding what they're dealing with every day. And that did help me. But then at the same time, I did get frustrated because I'm like, but y'all are prioritizing the wrong things. Craig Singer said, well said, really well said. He said that my son can really, he can read well. I tried to teach him in a grade above. I spent an hour with him about time school. He starts, we're together. Okay, I'm sorry. So that's good. I mean, that's a step that you're taking towards your child's education and you're investing. And for me, I was that teacher. I am still that teacher that's hard on parents. And I guess because my thing is there are so many free resources out here. I need y'all to start researching and really, but it does make sense what you're saying, that if it's not available, accessible.
So is that society? Is society setting up? Is that society setting up that area like us, like sabotage?
Because when you look at it now, they just put a media center in the community.
Okay.
And that was only, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yep.
Now, that school has been 3031, has been there forever. And you just decided to put, because you already knew the development, the city development for that area. So you already knew the clientele that's moving in now. You got little Sally Walker them in there.
Yo, me and my wife was looking for a house about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Did you see it?
We went in what they are now reframing as West Midtown.
You saw the Craftsman?
Bruh.
Did you see the Craftsman?
700.
You see the Craftsman?
I want to use some profanity, but I am not going to lie. I am not going to lie.
The Craftsman.
The home was $600,000. It was a 3-bedroom, and it was. And I told the guy that was showing us the house, I said, man, I used to work around here. I said, man, this house $600,000.
Yeah.
Like, if I go half a mile down the street, I'm in the element.
Yes.
It's a whole different jungle half a mile down the street.
Yeah.
But you know, they're investing in different ways, and just like with with desegregation of public schools, how Black educators were kind of pushed out.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen in the city of Atlanta. They're going to push us back out. That's how Clayton County became Clayton County.
Exactly.
Wow.
I started in Clayton County.
They tore down
I started in Clayton County in Hampton. Yep. My school was all white. I was one of 4 Black teachers. I was a young Black teacher. Me and another white teacher, she graduated from Mercer. We were up for the position, had a racist principal. I went in there. I graduated from Morris Brown. I knew my stuff. My room was set up. Even instructional coach was like, "Oh, you own it." I had to teach the girl from Mercer. Don't you know the principal chose the girl from Mercer because he wanted to keep it all white. Because again, that's how it started down in Clayton County. They pushed all the Black teachers out. And that's what they're going to do with APS. They're going to push all of the Black teachers out. And they're going to bring in those elements that they need for that neighborhood. And that's why I'm just like, it's a political game. It's that race, all tied in one. But I just need us to wake up.
Correct.
James.
And you
when are we going to wake up?
That was huge. You talked to that young man. You know the power of and that's just because of a man to look at somebody that looked like you to get. Every Black boy wants instruction from a Black man. I don't care what. I don't care who they are. They are looking for that guidance. Every last one of them. I don't care if they sitting there with the mug face and looking hardcore and mean. Something you say can impact that kid.
So I mentioned this earlier, and I want to bring this up. It's not off topic, but it's like on topic. A lot of people have asked me like, yo, Ray, how did you make it out? How did you make it to like where you at? And one of the biggest things that set me apart was that my name is Johnny Ray James II. That means somebody came before me. His name is Johnny Ray James, country man from Monroe, Louisiana, and grew up in my life, still on my head every day. An old Black man from Louisiana that is my daddy. And that was the change. Whereas like most of my boys, most of my family that I grew up with, like my dad was the dad. Like Johnny Ray was the dad of the community. You know, and one of the reasons, and I don't know if we wanted to touch on this, but one of the reasons that I ended up leaving schools was because I have always lived by a quote that he said, "Don't have, do nothing." And so growing up, that was my approach to everything. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it big. I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna be the most all in person that you could find. And what I didn't want to happen with me working in schools, I didn't want to start half doing it. Because I was realizing, yo, when are my people gonna wake up? What's going on there? And it can. I live by a James Baldwin quote too. You know, to be African American and relatively conscious is to be in a constant state of rage. And you mentioned it earlier from a health perspective. That ain't healthy. I'm trying to live to be 100. And if I'm just angry every day, mad at the system, mad because I'm unplugged from the matrix. I see what's going on. I'm gonna end up having a heart attack when I'm 35 because I'm way too conscious of what's going on. And now in my new job, like I'm able to get into a world of education that I never knew. And I told my CEO this from a selfish standpoint. I'm learning all of this for Sankofa. Everything about my life is Sankofa. I'm going there to go back and take it back to the hood, take it back to my people. And my new organization, 2Revolutions, they focus on competency-based education. I don't know how much you know about that, but I worked in schools for a while, and I've been an administrator. I didn't know nothing about competency-based education. What you mean?
Guess what? They started at an APS.
It's a totally new way of learning, new way of assessing, new way of just teaching and instruction. However, it takes a full changing of the system because like KIPP Atlanta is doing something pretty cool right now that's like on the verge of it. They moved to standards-based grading.
Oh, wow.
So standards-based grading is like, cool, you get a grade per standard.
Okay.
And then for that class, like ELA, for example, cool, there are like 10 different standards.
Yeah.
And your overall average comes from, instead of like, cool, you get an average from like your homework grade, your quiz grade, your test grade, your participation.
Yeah.
Now it's all standards. And parents, now, like I said, they're undoing a system, but it's going to take a lot of education of the educating of the community. Once parents fully understand it, they'll be able to more quickly and better support their kids from a parental connection to school. Because instead of me getting a report from the school that my kid got a C in ELA, I don't really understand how they got it. It's like, and then you come to parent-teacher conference and the teacher says, you know, your child don't do their homework, your child, you know, don't pay attention. Like now it's like, no, your child is struggling with standard 6.1.
Right. Yeah.
If you go and give them some resources on how to make inferences, they're gonna be good in my class because that's what's hurting them. Or they and that right there is like the first shift from traditional grading, like the 0 to 100 scale, and competency-based education is like almost doing away with grading.
Yeah, like, we started that in APS again as like they always
how much
do.
Teaching did they do?
They didn't. They didn't.
So like
so
you
it was
implement it.
You can't give teachers a PD in the summertime and be like, here, we're going to do this, and your teachers are looking like, okay, so we just finished the other program, the reform, and we ain't mastered that, so now you want us to teach. And that's the problem with public education. Everybody has their hand in not listening to the teachers. It's like we're trying to tell y'all the kids don't need a grade. Like I feel like pre-K through second grade don't need grades. Like you just need to teach them standards.
They need competencies.
Yeah.
I need to teach you certain skills and dispositions. That way, like the only thing that I feel like they need to maybe, and not even get a grade for, but like teach me how to read. Everything else should be competency based.
That's
like
it.
Montessori.
I love Montessori. Yes.
Like not based on my grade or my age and like, cool, I'm done with first grade, so now I go to second. Like, nah. If I'm in first grade and I still need some first grade work in second grade, cool.
Yeah.
I take some of those classes and like it's normalized within the school that like, cool, 7-year-olds take classes with 5-year-olds and some 5-year-olds take classes with 9-year-olds.
Right.
And it's based on where you are within the system in terms of your intellect instead of your age.
Listen, we're about to close out a show. I definitely want you to come back. Are you willing to come back?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. we gotta finish this conversation. But before we close out, are you in the process? I feel like a school is coming your way. Like you gonna create a school. Somebody said, I think we as people should find a way to open up an all-black school.
It needs to be a private school. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan, even though I got on a private school shirt right now. I'm not a big fan of private schools, but in order to make it a black school, and like, KIPP Soul Academy was breaking the law the past couple of years because we taught them kids black history, we teach them Georgia Standards, we taught African and African American history.
Wow.
We made our own history curriculum, and that's what we need to do. However, we was breaking the law. And now that we got an 8th grade, a tested grade, we can't do that.
Oh,
because it's like now some state accountability with it. And be like, yo, what y'all been teaching these kids?
But it felt good, didn't it?
It felt real good. It felt real good.
See,
I knew it was breaking
y'all don't understand. That's that teacher. That's that teacher moment. It feels good to teach them.
In terms of having a school, I may one day have a school. Me and my wife have talked about it because both me and my wife are educators. And we've talked about potentially opening up a school for our babies, a FUBU school for us, by us. And however, I still think about like the kids that's not at our schools. And so I still think like the system needs to change. And in the same way that we train up medical professionals and give them constant training and pay them what they're worth, in my opinion, that's what we need to do in public schools. We need to pay teachers what they're worth. We need to pay schools equitably instead of equally based on like, cool, you get the funding based on your property. It's like, nah, you get funding based on your needs. And like, cool, Scott Elementary, Douglas Cluster, y'all can get the most funding in APS. And then the funding that y'all would have gotten from your community, cool, we're going to push that to the north side because they got the resources in the community to balance it.
And listen, y'all, I'm tired of seeing the others going into our schools and volunteering. I need to see more of us. It's a lot of us that can do that. our babies need to see y'all, and I'm making a plea. Like, I know I need y'all to get in there. I need for my Black men to get in there.
Absolutely.
I was very blessed to be at a school where the principal, Mr. Longley, he's all about that life. I need y'all to be in there. You don't have to be in a fraternity, sorority, or whatever. I need y'all to be in there. Our kids need to see y'all. You know what I'm saying? And it will burn me whenever I see the other communities come in like they're doing, and I get it, you're doing your volunteer work or whatever, but then they come in with this sense of, oh, I saved a little Black kid.
Save the complex.
You know, and I don't need that. I need us to get into those schools, okay? I need y'all. We need y'all, because it is, I hate to say it, yeah, it is. It is for our babies. Our babies.
And also, like, the fact that we even talking right now and neither one of us are working in schools is scary, because
it is.
That was always the scariest thing for me. It's like, yo, if not me, then who? Like, if I leave, and I'm saying this is an ELA person. Yeah. I know more than likely, if I leave, especially like as an ELA teacher, like when I was in Kip, New Jersey, I was the only Black out of, I think it was like 20-something ELA teachers in Kip, New Jersey middle schools. I was the only Black male. Wow. In terms of ELA assistant principals with Kip in the city, the only Black male.
The only Black male.
Yep. Now, shout out to Kip's Whole Academy. They made sure that as I left, we was very intentional about saying, nah, we want a Black man up in here because this is what our boys need to see. Yeah. So instead of, recruiting a possible white woman or just another woman, no shade to any woman. No. We were like, cool, we need a man up in here, so we're not about to replace Mr. James with,
just anybody. You can't do that. So it's important. It's a plea, y'all. We need it. So look, tell us how can we find you? How can we connect with you? What's next? Someone said, loving this conversation, great show. Yeah, Black History. Thank you. What's next, and how can we connect with you?
What's next for me is dealing with the many projects that I got my hands in right now. We're doing some work in Jefferson County Public Schools, where Louisville is. Changing up how their seniors and juniors get credits from like a competition base rather than a test and multiple choice. Yeah. They can get credits for like out of school things. Doing some work with an after school network out of California. About to start up a project in Arkansas. So doing a lot of different things with my new gig, and also doing some writing. I think I sent you the link. Yeah. The piece that I recently wrote. Yeah. And I'm gonna be writing a lot more. And in terms of how people can connect with me, let me pull up this stuff on Twitter. It's the number 2Revolutionary. 2Revolutionary. And on Instagram, what's this Insta name? It's _Revolution. And on Facebook, it's just Ray James. I'm real accessible. Got public accounts on Twitter and on Instagram. Facebook, you got to request me though. So I'm out here.
Okay. Ray James, y'all, and of course, please let me know how we can connect and support, because, again, that is my passion. I may have left the classroom, but I am still a teacher. And because now I can actually see with a good, healthy heart and mind and spirit and some energy, I could do more. And that's what I want to do, because, again, I served my time. It was hard to leave, but at the same time, I had to take care of me in order to continue this fight, because, again, watching my babies grow up and be left behind, and now with this whole the vicious cycle, and it's just not fair. Like, it's just not fair. I believe I can't. The children are our future. Yeah, we started singing that song a long time ago. You be like, man, let them lead the way. Please, Craig, yes, see sound requesting after the show. Yes, please do so. But again, please make sure you support Ray James in these efforts, because, again, I always say it takes a village, but until you are actually in that village and understand what's going on, then you're going to really be like, oh, you know what, I can, and a lot of times it takes more than just dropping money in. Like, we need you. You
need that, like, if y'all have tribal chiefs that actually stood around and said, hey, they actually talked to these. They weren't scared to do. How can you be afraid to talk to young men in your own community?
Exactly. Yep. And parents, I need y'all to stay connected, because I will be giving out some tips for back to school. So I said I wasn't going to do it, but some of y'all still acting.
There she go.
Still acting like you ain't the first day of school. You like, come on, y'all.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. And you still, what we need for back to school? You need a tablet. You need a Wi-Fi. Come on now. They're giving them away for free. If you're getting food stamps, you're getting it for free. So I don't want to hear no excuses.
You got to go online to order.
Get your mask. Go on and get the mask up.
No, but seriously, you got to go online to order.
Yeah, just order, like, just get it.
But that's a problem when the parent, who is the head of the household, whose information has to put in, can't go online.
So I got a resource for parents. I'm connected with a guy named Chet Beasley, good brother. His website is mycrd.is.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah.
Text it to me, and I'll post it.
His company provides free tablets, hotspots for parents, and it just needs to be in more schools.
Yeah. And I'll post it. He's going to send that to me, and I'm going to post it. There should be no, y'all, come on. We're coming out of this post-pandemic, so it's going to be a little bit more challenging, but we can do it. I just feel like we can do it, and we will do it. You still have good people that are willing to help. So, any last words? Any last words?
Parents, if you're rocking an iPhone 13, your kids should have some technology too.
Yeah.
If you paid the $1,600 for your phone.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. Again, priority.
That's it. Last words, Mr. Ray James.
Last words is pretty cliche, but keep hope alive.
Yeah.
We if slavery didn't destroy us, we good.
Yeah.
If slavery didn't do it, we have proof of our existence that something extra and something different is possible. So we just got to keep pushing, keep working, and then stay connected to our people and our youth, because they're going to be at the front lines of the revolution. They're going to be the ones that's going to be our doctors, our lawyers, our society runners, for better or for worse. And so if you want to do anything to make yourself live another 100 years, you need to be investing in our youth, because they're going to be the ones that's going to really determine if you're going to live for 100 years.
Yeah, that's true. Nelson, any last words? But no. Listen, y'all, September 24th, I need y'all to go on over to the website. I am Trinette L. Collier. Get your tickets for the All Black event. You don't want to miss this early bird special. $50 tickets, y'all. You don't want to miss this event. So until next week, yo, we are out. It's your girl TaShon of the Mailroom, live on 101 TKO Radio. Peace. So until next week, yo, we are out. It's your girl TaShon of the Mailroom, live on 101 TKO Radio. Peace.